Well, I'll just give my little, I guess we could wait a couple minutes, or I'll just explain that May is Wisconsin Historic Preservation Month. And they always make a big thing out of that at the Wisconsin Historical Society. So Steve Rice and I have planned a couple, we tried to think of a couple programs for that purpose, and they will, I think they make a list of programs to advertise for the whole state. So I'm hoping to get them on there. And one program we're going to do is going to be on that schoolhouse they're renovating in down near Nemours. Did you read about that in the news?
Where?
I didn't know.
Where is this?
You know the Belgian heritage
Yeah.
area near Nemours? They have an old schoolhouse there that has been used as their Belgian American Center. I guess they had meetings there, but they're going to renovate it and try to make it look like a turn of the century schoolhouse again. So this is their project that they're going to be working on. It was in the local news outlets. So we contacted them, and they're going to do a program on it because they're just beginning steps on what they'll do. And they have to do a lot of research to get more details, but they are going to be starting this year. So that program will be, I'm not absolutely sure, but earlier in May. And then the second program on historic preservation will be on granary, because we are all curious what's going to happen there. So we had a meeting with Beth Renstrom, who is now the director of the project. And it looks pretty impressive what the plans are. They just won a big award for their design, a National Architecture Magazine award. It's an international award too, so it's pretty impressive. And the pictures look just gorgeous, what's going to happen. So she is going to come and do a program on the history of the granary and agriculture in Wisconsin, and then some of the plans. So those are two programs we're planning for May. So the way
Are they going to have an elevator in the granary?
I'm not
you know?
sure. I'm not an expert on it. You'll have to come to the program and hear what she has to say. But
Okay.
from what I saw, and it's interesting because they're both on the national and state registers. And so it'll be interesting. I'd like to know a little bit about how you maintain that status when you do renovations.
Yeah.
And the top floor, from the pictures I've seen, it's going to be stunning. It's going to be a sort of open glass thing so you can see all over. So that'll be really neat. And I just would like to, it'll be interesting to learn more. But meanwhile, way back in 2015, when they started some of this granary stuff, I started researching the families. You know me, I always have to do genealogy, as they said. So the Brandeis family and the Tulis, I don't know if you were aware of it, but a few years ago, two ladies from the family came here and gave a talk.
Yeah.
Were you there, Mary Ellen?
No, I did not attend, but I heard of it.
It was very interesting. Two older ladies, and they gave the whole history of the family. There's a big building in Milwaukee that was the headquarters that's now an apartment complex. And one of the relatives had a huge department store, and they all came over from Bohemia. And then the one went out to Omaha, Nebraska, and built this gigantic department store that looks gorgeous, like the old Marshall Fields or something, And then locally, they lived in Milwaukee, Algoma, and then here in Sturgeon Bay. I started a family tree on Ancestry. The house that they own, Brandeis owned, is here on Michigan. It's that one that's kind of yellow and bluish, mainly yellow. And it's one of those that was designed by Fred Crandall. I don't know if you have heard of him, but he was one of the major architects in town. And I found a scrapbook of a display that was in the Miller years ago, and I scanned all those pictures and put them online. A lot of buildings around York County were designed by him. And that house over there is one of them. So that's kind of interesting. And
that's not the one it's not a bed and breakfast, is it?
No, it's an apartment complex now.
Oh, okay.
It's a big one right there. Kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of yellowish.
On Michigan Avenue, Michigan,
Yes,
Michigan Street? Okay. I know which one it is then, yeah.
yeah, and so that's the old Brandeis House, but it's also interesting because it was in that catalog of Fred Crandall houses. Is
Here's a lot
someone?
of feedback from somebody.
There, it was Steve. I muted him.
Yeah.
Now he can unmute himself if he needs to join us. So anyway, can I show you my family tree that I started?
Sure.
I'll share my screen. Here we go. Let's see. That was where I'm thinking to do the same thing for the schoolhouse because my feeling is that learning about people, the people who were involved in these buildings is important. It brings in a kind of a human aspect. So here's something on Moses Toulis. I think the ladies pronounce the name Toulis. And it just happens that his sister, this Franny, is the one who married the other Brandeis, the Brandeis, who went out to, and they're also related to the judge, but she married this one, Jonas Brandeis, and he went out to Omaha and he built this gorgeous department store that is, it's one of the big landmarks of that city. You can see that. So that's pretty neat, I think.
Huh.
Big department store. And there are a lot of stories about him, and you can see his picture there. I've only just started this tree. I mean, I started it a while ago and I just let it go. So let's see, let's get back to, this is ancestry for you. So her sibling was Moses Toulis. And then in the family, they all came over from Bohemia. They were Jewish Bohemians, but they did not practice a lot. I guess there's a term for their religious attitude, and I can't remember what it is, but it's kind of interesting. So Moses started the granary along with his son-in-law, or his, let's see, how does that work? His daughter married someone. Oh, now I'm getting confused again. But I think his son, oh yeah, here we go. There's his son who was in business with him. And then, no, I'm sorry, I gotta get this straightened out. I'm still getting them all confused. But I've started a good family tree and I want to continue. And you do learn some sad things, like one of the family tried to kill herself, and you read the obituaries and things. You know how that is. So I'm hoping to find out more. If anyone knows anything about this family. I think I had, I'm trying to find the husband of one of the girls who was the other Brandeis. A couple of them were married. Isidore, that's the one I'm looking for. He's the one who had the house, and there's a picture of the house, I think. You'll recognize it. There, that one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that looks like the bed and breakfast.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
a
it's,
couple of them on Michigan that look very similar.
Yeah, this is actually apartment
Yeah.
buildings,
Yeah,
an apartment building.
Oh, it's apartments now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
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 I know where it is.
yeah. And as I say, there's a whole thing about Fred Crandall and all the many buildings that he did in Door County. I put it on the library local history page. And
What
have,
was Fred Crandall a local?
yeah, and he designed tons of buildings around here, all the schoolhouses and everything. And there, I may get this story a little off, but apparently his architectural drawings are now in the archives. But they found a whole lot of them in those steam tunnels. Do you know about that steam tunnel thing that went under 3rd Avenue?
Yeah, I heard about it, but
Yeah, when they were taking that out, they came across his architectural drawings, my understanding is, and there's tons of them now that are in the archive. So that's pretty neat, if you ask me.
I
like
think that's so interesting. What in the world would he store his papers in a tunnel for? I mean,
Steve,
I love to know the way people think.
I don't know that he stored them there, but there were a lot of basements that were somehow they were somehow connected.
Um,
And so it was probably some room in a basement. I don't know. We'll have to ask Steve Rice. He's learning all those things now since he's taking care of the archives.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
it
but
would
it
be very
really
interesting.
draws the whole area together. So if anyone knows anyone who went to that Belgian American school down there that they're going to be renovating, let me know, because I'm going to start a family tree for that, some of those people down there, although they've done tons of research on the Belgian American families.
You know, Grace, what's her last name? Anyway, Grace, she was in our group and I'll remember her name probably as I'm talking, but anyway, she was Belgian. She did a lot of work down there and her relatives down there. Doggone it, what was her name? I'll have to look it up. Anyway,
Yeah.
she hasn't been to our meetings or our group sessions because I'm not quite sure why she didn't come in the winter, but in the summer, she sells flowers. She's got a nursery up by just south of Sister Bay, kind of east of on 57 and Q, 57 and Q, where that joins. It's right near there.
Mhm.
And so she's pretty well tied up on that. Grace Bernhardt, I think it is. Yeah, Grace Bernhardt.
Bernhardt.
Yeah.
Is she related to, wasn't the other big architect here, Bernhardt? I wonder.
That I don't know.
Crandall and Bernhardt, he did a lot of the buildings like, well, they both worked on the Ephraim Town Hall, I think.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah, okay.
I get all these things mixed up, so,
Yeah, well, it's hard to keep it all straight.
yeah. That's why I keep adding things to that genealogy local history page on the library website so that I know where to look if I need to find things
Yeah.
again.
That's good.
So,
Probably don't look at that enough. Of course, I don't have.
Bernhardt is her married name, so her husband may be related somehow. I don't know that.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, what has everyone else been working on lately?
Well, I've been in my research on my Lindsay side. I was just double checking some of my work, and there's 3 fellas that were named Lindsay, Arthur, Albert, and Raymond, that all died on the same day, December 10th of 1917. And I've been through newspapers.com, but I can't find anything in Baltimore, Maryland. Well, yeah, they were all buried there. They're all buried in the same cemetery as my other relatives, but the records don't show the lot holder's name. However, they show another guy's name, which is right next to where some of my family start, part of the same part of that grave plot and over. So I'm trying to track those guys down, and I'm not getting anywhere, but I've given a lot of time to it, but not quite as much as I need to yet. But
Mhm.
it just, I find it fascinating. All the same names, same death date, supposedly. And I thought, well, maybe there was some catastrophe or something that
Oh.
happened. But so
That
far,
too early? Is that too early for the influenza in 17?
well, they were buried December of 1917.
Yeah, I don't know when the Spanish flu
I
started.
thought that was 1918. Then I
Yeah.
was thinking maybe the First
Yeah.
World War somehow,
Yeah.
but and I have no idea if they're children or
No.
adults.
By the 17th or by December of 17, the United States was preparing. They already had people. I think they already had guys over in soldiers over in Europe. By then,
Yeah.
at least they were getting ready. So
Yeah.
could have been related to that.
So I still have more work to do, but that was my find of the week. And so I'm starting to, and this is what happens. I go down a path that might be related somehow, somewhere, and then I chew up all my time doing that. But I get bored kind of looking for new information on my regular folks. So
Yeah.
I think we're all like that, really.
I'm glad to hear that because, the bright, shiny object, man, I'm down that path. And then
Yeah, it's
pretty
hard
soon,
to
3 hours
track.
have gone by.
It's hard to keep going on the one, because you get a hit about something else and all of a sudden you're over in some other, country, some other,
I know it.
following it,
And I try so hard not to make what I see work. I want to,
Right.
you want
Yeah.
the fact, but you go, well, gee, it
Yeah,
could have
Could
this
have, yeah.
together. And
Makes sense.
yeah, I know, to me.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
I've been watching a couple of different people work together. Well, we found, my sister and I do things together, and then we found a distant relative online through Ancestry. And she is extremely methodical. She makes databases of thousands of people with the same last name. My sister, on the other hand, is an artist, and she's very intuitive.
Mhm.
So it's just really interesting to see the two approaches to the same
Yeah.
family history.
Yeah.
And now we've hooked up with some others in that same family. And so the methodical lady and this retired military man are both extremely methodical, and they're getting really into depth. And the big question for them is this: it's a Phillips family from New York. Were they Palatine or were they Dutch?
Wow.
And this is like way, way back, 1700 or so.
Yeah,
So
that's the
they're
first-
they're
first
just
wave.
going everywhere they can think of and getting all sorts of books and then researching where that information came from. And I just stand on the sideline and watch them go at
Yeah,
it
let them
because I
do all
don't
the
have that
work.
time.
Yeah.
So there you have intuitive versus methodical.
And especially when you get back that far, the records are harder and harder to find.
Yeah.
And if you can even find something relative to try to read it is another
Yeah,
headache.
try to read it and understand it. They've got the chart of these, the family, and you read it, and it doesn't really say that this was the daughter of so-and-so or the son of so-and-so. It's hard to follow sometimes how they put it together.
Yeah.
Some of those.
That reminds me too of something I caught long time ago. I was looking for English ancestors,
Mhm.
and I found a few items, and I can't even tell you what they are now, but the word, and it actually was a little not a monogram, but a logo. But anyway, it meant Gross Britain. Does anybody know what the heck that is?
No.
Where did you come across that?
I don't know. I don't remember, Laura. I'd have to go digging through my paperwork. But when Tom was talking about all the different places, and it got me to thinking, I thought, is that Britain? Maybe another way of saying Great Britain, or was it an entirely
Or like Brussels or Namur here in
Right.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought I'd throw it out in case it rang a bell with anybody else, but
I can't say it does with me offhand, but it would depend on where you came across it, I would think.
yeah, it would. But it was a long time ago, and I'm sure it's buried in my paper files somewhere.
Yeah, that's the trouble, getting everything organized, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm about to go and take each file folder
Mhm.
and look at my old stuff that I don't know, many years ago, when I was kind of getting a little inkling, but knew nothing about sources or citations or any of that. Just, get a photocopy and go with it to do further research. But anyway, I'm about to go back and look through them all because I know there's stuff in there that at the time I didn't know what to do about, but little bits I might have missed of the family, things that I see as clues now that I may have just, bypassed. So I think sometimes it's good to go and look at all your old little pieces of paper, if you've still kept them, but your old notes from when you started and reread them. I remember my mother telling me that her her grandmother had died of consumption. And I wrote that down in my notes from what my mother had talked about the family. Well, I just found that fairly recently and I go, oh, that's TB. Well, I didn't know that back in the day. And so trying to track down maybe, where she is and so on. Because with that side of the family, there are so many, virtually nobody knows who the mother of my grandmother was. They have it because the man married a second and a third time after she died, but she died when my grandma was like 3. So they don't know. And I have the birth cert or the marriage license of those 2 people, so I can prove that all the family trees online are wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful of that, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I usually look at them just for a little hint, maybe.
Yeah.
A tip I can check out, but God, the number of people that just.
Yeah, they just throw stuff up there.
Yeah, I don't know. And it reminds me of the number of people that throw stuff on Find a Grave. It's like they just want to be the person who contributed 1,000 pictures or something. And it's all squirrely. So
There are people who get into sort of arguments over that.
I know.
Almost like wars, the Find a Grave wars I've heard about,
Oh, they are. They're terrible. And who owns this memorial?
I don't know if they think they're doing a service or they just want to do a lot of the work. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where they're coming from, but obviously there are people that have too much time on their hands. I mean, they could be the amount of time they spend racking up all of these misinformed things. If they would just apply their time to searching one, they'd be a lot further ahead, I think.
Yeah, and if they use, the dates on a tombstone are not always reliable.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
because-
or they're misread. When you look at some of that old engraving,
Right.
you
Or
you
it's
sit there and you
faded.
look,
It's faded
now,
somewhat. Yeah.
is that a 3 or is that an 8? It's a little, gets
Yeah.
tricky.
And even.
The flip side of it though is there are the people out there that are very meticulous, and
Yes.
I've come up on 2 different occurrences in Find a Grave where it was a relatives, one my father-in-law and one my sister-in-law, where they had information wrong. And so I contacted the person, I replied to however it was you replied to it on it,
Mhm.
and they were great. They said, oh, thanks so much for clearing this up.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, since you know this person intimately, why don't you become the person that's in charge of this, of that record? And I thought that was wonderful that they were so upfront like that, because sometimes we've heard in these meetings where people will send a message to somebody, say on Ancestry or Family Search, and they never even get a response. So
Yeah, you're right.
Thankfully, there are the good people out there too.
Yeah, there is actually, I was kind of fooling around with Find a Grave last week, and I know that I had seen the Find a Grave for a certain person, but I was going through them again and looking, and whoever, I forgot now, whoever created the memorial though, added extra information that she found that wasn't there a
Mm,
long time ago when I looked, which is wonderful.
Yep.
If she, boy, and now that I know more, what she had to say really fit in. So that was somebody that really, and there's many folks that are really diligent that way, but you know, there's others too you run across. It's sort of like on Facebook, you know, you got to scroll through the ones you don't want any, you know, listen to any of that.
Still haven't figured out on Facebook, how come I get friend requests from India and Pakistan, and I don't know anybody that is over in India or Pakistan. I don't have any friends,
Yeah.
over there.
Some of those are hacking, trying to hack.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. I can't even pronounce their name, or it's in the foreign language, written.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to see how many people they can get, Yeah.
That's true. But I also, I don't know, I'm just kind of, but a couple of things caught my eye. I get a daily electronic newsletter. It's a free one. It's familyhistorydaily.com. And anyway, they have stuff I might be interested in and stuff that I'm not. And I don't know how to share the screen, but there was an article shortly that was it was about 300 plus family history abbreviations explained. It was wonderful. It was a full list of what you might run into when you're trying to read deeds or land or even obituaries and whatnot. But it was, oh golly, I printed it. I don't know, it's about 10, 12 pages long. I thought it was worth it to keep in my stash of abbreviations and stuff. There was what was quite interesting, and it was a topic of discussion on one of my genealogy Facebook groups, is the use for women. Do you say, for instance, okay, I'm Mary Ellen, my maiden name was Gray, but my married name is Ramstack, which is what I go with. Okay, so I'm Mary Ellen Ramstack. Then do you enter Nee, N-E-E, Gray, or some people are doing M-N for middle name Gray, and who's going to know what? So this was a discussion going back and forth and back and forth. And I use Nee, the French word for
Born.
name, born, right, name. And I don't know, what do any of you do the same thing, or do you use the middle name or maiden name, M-N abbreviation?
I use knee myself.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's most common. I really do. But sometimes I think that middle name, M-N, is probably more current in the language, if you will. So I think when you're reading old documents, you're going to see perhaps the name or Nee and then the maiden name. But there were so many people in my genealogy group who have to be a whole heck of a lot younger than I am, because they had no clue what that was. Someone thought it was an alias. But anyway, but there's all those explanations, which is kind of a neat deal. So if you want to get, it's a free newsletter. And every so often there's something that really catches my eye.
I'll take a copy of that, if you don't mind.
Sure, be happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the most comprehensive I've found. There's a few I've seen that are particular to a subject in this short list, but this was pretty comprehensive. So
it's not copyrighted, is it?
I don't think so. You know what? If you want to go online, frankly, Tom,
okay,
you could probably download it yourself.
Yeah, I was thinking that we could also, Laura, can we put it on
Yeah.
the
Let me
website?
see, I've got Is this what you're talking about?
familyhistorydaily.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And I don't see where you can find, I don't see the newsletter. Do you? Yeah. I think you have to sign up.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah, because it says get free checklist and newsletter.
Yeah.
So you sign
Yeah,
up
it's
for it.
free.
Okay.
There we go. That's the article.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Beginner's guide, what does, so they're putting that up there.
Keep going though. She doesn't, for more help, blah, blah. There you go. Starts right there.
Would
So
you call
that's the
Family
whole-
History Daily?
That's the whole thing.
Well, that's interesting.
I thought it was
Yeah.
because it was so much more comprehensive.
There you go.
There's your knee. Yeah, and isn't that interesting?
Sure
I
is,
did
yeah.
not know that.
Yeah, right there.
For the male, it's NE, original, former, or legal name of a man. Now, I've not run across that, but
Wow.
anyway, trying to read those old, whatever they are, wills or deeds or anything, sometimes. So, but that was it, Laura.
Yeah. So that's where we could sign up for it also. if we want.
Okay.
I may sign up too.
Yeah, it's a freebie, and I always look at it every day just to see what they're showing, and I just zero in on what I'm interested in. Usually the daily stuff, I don't have time to look at every one of my daily newsletters, but I kind of glance and pick and choose what I do like.
I have too many emails these days.
I know.
You mentioned about sources and citations. Well, I think I mentioned last time, that I've discovered that I did a very poor job first time through my sources and citations, and so that's what I'm working on, is going back through and correcting, because a lot of them are wrong, just plain, incomplete, and well, they're just plain wrong. Okay. Nobody could ever find anything, from the citation that I have. So that's what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Actually, longer than that, 2 months.
And here I just noticed, I don't know if you remember, at one point we talked about Rss Feed. So if you go to Door County
yeah.
Library to the genealogy meeting page,
Mhm.
there is, I did put that here under news,
Oh.
blogs and podcasts.
Okay.
And when I open that up right now, it turns out that Family History Daily is
Oh,
in there.
okay, cool.
So that's, if you can't
Okay.
remember to sign up, or you don't want to sign up and you want to still read it, you can always come here and then.
So
the-
how does that work, Laura, exactly?
Oh, there it is. The second one. Oh,
Yeah,
So-
whoops, sorry, it's under news blogs.
Yeah,
So
do you-
this site, and some of them are getting out of date, I think. Like this one hasn't had any thing for a while, so I'll remove that one. But these are all different genealogy sites that it pulls in the headlines or the main story titles for all the different.
So
ones
you
that are
have to
in here.
go to that main site, that genealogy site, RS. You don't get an announcement, you don't get a notification that there's something new, do you?
No, it comes in here automatically.
Okay, and then you just go to that main site, and then you look for the ones you want to look at. Is that how
Yeah.
it works?
Now, I'm not logged in with it, but I will take this one out because they're not publishing anything right now.
well, there was something to do. I was reading in one of my genealogy groups, that there was, I don't know if it was illness or whatnot, that they did not publish for quite a while.
These
And
two,
they're gonna, yeah,
So
they'll be.
they're
I think
supposed to be the main speakers at the Wisconsin State Genealogical Seminar at the end of April, so.
yeah, so this one's taking a while to come in. I load my regular RSS feed every day and it comes right up. And I have different, all different kinds of things that I follow. I like British movies or TV series, for example.
Oh,
So I have
yeah,
one for
on
that and
Acorn TV.
library
you bet.
news. But, you know, you have, if you create I think I told you how to do it. NetVibes is the site I use. There are different ones, but I like the way it looks. And so you can scan the headlines that way
Okay. I'll have to look
and then
for it.
open them up if you want or not.
Yeah,
Then you
and
can
that,
get much email.
that abbreviations thing I was talking about, if you
Mhm.
saw, Tom, it was on Laura's feed. It was the second article down.
Yeah.
So you could access it that way too.
So you're welcome to look at that feed anytime you want. I put it up on that page that
And
way.
where is that again? That's on your law?
It's on, here, I'll show you once more. It's on the
Okay.
website. It's on, if you go to doorcountylibrary.org
Yeah,
to the calendar where all
Yeah.
of the programs are posted, and here's today.
okay.
I keep putting it on, so it'll be on the next one too,
Oh,
I
okay,
have
yeah,
all
it's just
these
down
links here.
Okay, I see it.
and it's down here.
Okay,
Or once you get there, you can just bookmark it, you know. I
okay,
tried to make it,
okay, I got you,
but I'm gonna move this one down. Maybe they'll come back, but you know, here's Eastman, for example. So what you can do is if you see the article you want to read, you can open it up like this, and then you can actually go to the site.
And then once you've read it, you can erase it from the feed?
No, it just, it makes it like, let's
So
see.
the feed, it's always there, okay,
Yeah, but every time there's something new coming in, it will put the new one at the top of the list. So
Right.
when I look here, if I've clicked on it on my computer, it should make it paler or something like, you know how it does. Maybe
So,
not, since it's not my. So the new ones will be put at the top every time.
okay,
and so therefore you don't, or I wouldn't have to go and join all these free, even if they're free. I
Right.
wouldn't have to go and join them all. Oh,
Right.
I think that's great. Yeah,
Yeah, because you can be drowned in emails,
I
right?
know, I
Sure.
know. That's the problem.
So
But
that's the way I
great.
do a lot of the, as I say, I love British series. So I have 3 different British series RSS feeds on my regular one that I look at every morning.
okay.
So I can see what the new shows are. What?
Acorn TV and BritBox, and what's the third one?
Well, no, these are blogs that people have where they're
Oh,
always,
blogs,
they're saying
okay.
what's the newest costume drama on Netflix and that sort of thing, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, okay.
It's one of my favorite things, but I have a library blog there too, and that type of thing. You know, you can make one, that NetVibes is free. So you can make anything you want.
Okay.
It's called NetVibes. So play around with it and see if you make your own. And
Okay.
I did want to quickly show you all one other thing, which I have been playing around with more and more. And that's the library audio downloadable books. So this is Hoopla Digital. Has anyone tried it?
No, I haven't yet.
No, I haven't.
With Hoopla, you're allowed, each library is separate, so you have to have a Door County card or one of the other libraries that does subscribe. You can't just have any card. And we allow 5 titles a month. But I found when you put in genealogy, I always double check for the subject heading because you can see there's some fiction audiobooks. You can see those are audiobooks by that. But let's say here's this series, which is a British published company, and there's their subject heading. So when you click on that, you start getting a whole lot of books on genealogy that they're very, very heavy on British. Do you know this series? This is a British published series. Has anyone seen that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I've
We
seen
have a
it
few of them
advertised.
here. Yeah, and as I think you, Tom, pointed out, they're British, not American census, that sort of thing. But there's a lot of information there if you're in British, but there's other countries also.
Now,
And general books, yes.
so what do you do with that, Laura? You can go there and download 5 a month.
You can
And there-
borrow it and then you can download it, or you can read it on a computer. You can download it to a tablet, to a cell phone.
Oh, it's not just audio.
No. Some are audio, some are ebooks. Like these are all ebooks. You can tell. These would be books you can, and you can get these books in the library too, a lot of them, right? But you see that in that subject, they have 245. So you might want to look through those. And I was taking down notes on some that were interesting. Like there is a book called Staff Officers in Gray about Civil War Confederate soldiers. I thought to tell Larry Destel about that one. And there's one on Ancestors in the Attic, which is how to find hidden clues to your ancestry in different places, a guide to military history on internet, maps for family and local history, producing a quality family history, which is like if you're going to make a book of family history, which might be kind of interesting. A lot of people, if you go in the history room here, you'll see family histories in all shapes and sizes. And this is a book that helps guide you through it. And then when I'm interested in Yorkshire Dales, I have ancestors from the Yorkshire Dales. So I just thought, considering these are also easily available on a computer or a tablet, you might want to try it.
How do you access it again, Laura? At the library's website?
You can go to the library's website, or if you have a tablet, for example, or something like that, you download the app.
Okay,
You go
so,
through the app. So here is the one I just showed you, Hoopla Digital. So if, let's say people have an iPad or a Samsung tablet or a computer, you download the Hoopla Digital app. You sign
Okay.
up with an email, you make up a password, and then you put in your library card and your PIN number.
okay,
And I'll say this quickly, everyone here can get a Brown County library card because they're our resource library, and they let you take out 5 or 6. So you could actually get 10 a
Brown
month.
County, okay.
oh, we could belong to the Brown County?
Yeah.
Did
And
you say?
use their databases.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And the
cool.
other one that has a lot of books too. So that's Hoopla.
Okay,
That is, not every library has it. So, you might have a library in the area that does not have it, but Door County does subscribe and Brown County does subscribe. And so this is the other one. This is called the Wisconsin Digital Library, and it's a gigantic, gigantic library. It's the entire state of Wisconsin. So the difference here is they license 1 book per person. So that means that if you choose a book that's very popular, you won't be able to get it right away. You'll have to wait in line. So you can see these are books, again, not audiobooks. There are audiobooks, but these are regular books. And you'd have to place this one on hold. But some of them are available right away. There you could borrow this one. Lots and lots of books, though. You can see that. Not only that, on this site now, this is Overdrive. It's called Overdrive or Libby. The app you're looking for a tablet is called Libby, Libby. And they have now switched and the magazines from a different site to this site. Now, there are not too many genealogy magazines, but they have some good stories. So when I narrow it down to magazines, you'll see this British family tree, but they had some pretty good stories on there when I was looking at it this morning. So you might want to check it out. Magazines are pretty much unlimited and they're not counted towards you. You're allowed 10 items at one time. Not that anyone needs to have 10 books, digital books at one time, but the magazines don't count towards that.
how long on
mean-
average can you keep the book, if you will?
A book you can check out, you have to make sure you can check it out for up to 3 weeks.
Okay,
And when you first log in, the default may be 2 weeks or something. You can change that to 3 weeks and you can always check it out for 3 weeks. So this one, I think you can also change. Basically, when you log in, you would go to settings and change the default dates. You want to see how it looks? Okay, here's how you get started. You have to choose your library. Whoops. And there's hundreds of libraries in the state of Wisconsin, right? Right? So I say go to our library system, which we're part of the Nicolay Federated System, because the systems are at the top. So here's my library card. And my PIN number. And then you sign in. And when you're first doing this, I always recommend going to my account settings. And the defaults may be set at like 14 days. You can set the maximum days.
Okay.
So do that right off the bat. But then, as I say, when I searched genealogy, you saw lots of books there, mainstream books. You can narrow things down to, say, audiobooks, magazines, ebooks. And then this one, you'd have to place a hold. So when I click on this one, which is pretty standard, if you look under this little question mark, it will tell you that you're going to have to wait. There's one copy. The state of Wisconsin purchased one copy. Sometimes they'll purchase 100 copies of popular novels. And there's 2 people who have it on hold. So you may have to wait about 6 weeks. But as I said, I can say, oh, I want something right now, and I'll narrow it down to available right now. And then these are ready to borrow. And there's some pretty good ones there. Plus, like
Ooh, that's fiction. She's wonderful though. Good author.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's good author.
Because I didn't look up the subject. I just typed in genealogy. So you could look in the subject category here and narrow it down that way. And then you get, but the magazines are neat too. And as I said, even though this is UK, but look, they had some pretty interesting articles on like the 23andMe.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a real magazine. And I mean, you're welcome to just check out a whole lot of these.
Laura, I used to get magazines through RB Digital, and now it's changed, of course, to
Right.
Libby.
Yes.
And with RB Digital, you could tell it to notify me when a new issue
Yeah.
came out.
And
And
that's
I didn't
fun.
see a way to do that with Libby. Can you still do that? Do you
No,
know?
you can't. You can't. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one down the side, but it's because the companies merged. So anyway, play around with it. I mean, these are all free with your library card.
So it's just like getting a regular book, but on something I can read off my computer.
Yeah.
That I don't need like a Kindle for, which I don't have, you know.
Well, black and white Kindles can only do a few of these. Color
No, but
Kindles.
I would be reading it off my laptop.
Up
So,
here, when I click on the title, you see where it says formats. So the apps on, say, a Samsung tablet and iPad would be an EPUB app. The Kindle book is only black and white.
okay.
White. So you can really, there's a whole lot of information available to you, you know, just with your library card and online. So I thought I would, whoops, let you all see, whoops. See, I'm trying to unshare my screen. There we go.
Huh.
So have a look. If you have questions, give me a call and I can walk you through it. Is that helpful?
Oh, yeah.
Laura, you're the best.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
yeah, a really good, a lot of good things you can look up. And I did send out that email. Ancestry Through the Library is available through, what was it, June?
June, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that, it's really nice that they're allowing that, I think. So, Steve, have you been working on anything you want to tell us about?
Well, I wasn't able to join in before because of where I was, but now I'm here. I'm still working on the 2 lines my parents, both my parents, the Norwegian and I thought it was German, but I found out my great-grandfather was married to a gal I thought she was also German Prussian. And turns out I think it's French because it's right on the line. What I did find out is their last name is Amrine, Aumrhein. And it's pretty obvious, and I had some French in college. It's pretty obvious that that means on the Rhine River.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. So that's one thing I came up with. Sometimes there's something hidden in a surname you've seen the whole time and it just doesn't hit you right in the eye. And that gives me a clue to maybe where she was from or family was from. I did have a couple of comments. One, because I wasn't able to join in before because of where I was. But on the steam tunnels, they had those open for the public, 1984. And my wife went down in them. She was insisted on going down, even though she's like her daughter. She was almost 9 months pregnant.
Wow.
They didn't allow pregnant gals down in the steam tunnels. They had to go through a manhole. And she did it. She hit it with her coat and she enjoyed it. I think she was the last person up before they closed it. The other thing was that house on Michigan.
Yes.
34 Michigan. That's right next to where Mary Jane Van Dyke lived.
Yes.
And so that's the house right next to where Curly Lambeau died.
Yep. Good. That's good Door County history, and down the road from that one murder also.
Cody? Oh, I got
No, that's a little, no, the other murder.
no, the Harris murder.
Yeah.
Well, Cody was closer.
Oh, you're right. I guess so. Yep.
But the Harris murder too. Those are interesting stories. And Crandall is a very common name. Was that with the boatworks too? They had.
I'm not sure. Can I show you the scans that I did of the houses or the buildings in Door County? Let me quickly show you. What I found in the Lori History Room was a scrapbook of a display they had in the Miller Art Museum way long ago. And it had all these photographs. So I just asked and I was able to scan them. And let's see, here it is. So I put them online just through Google. And you'll recognize a lot of these buildings.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But as I say, they found all of these, the blueprints in
the library, the old library.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
Carnegie one, yeah.
And
there was a
so
Carnegie
you're welcome to
Library
come here and look
Didn't
at
know
some
that.
of these. It's pretty neat. Like you can get a
And the
bigger,
Boucher building, and that's the Peterson building.
yeah.
Yeah.
These were all designed by Fred Crandall, the Masonic Temple.
Really?
I
My
took a
gosh.
couple modern pictures. This is a modern picture I took, but that's the original. Cherry Lanes,
The Masonic Lodge. Yeah.
yeah. And do you see the blueprints there?
Yeah.
Those are in the archives now.
Oh, wow.
You see, he did all these buildings. It's
The
amazing.
Nautical Inn.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
And,
There's the Brandeis House, which I mentioned.
and you mentioned Brandeis. I had a professor in Madison for real estate, and it's Walter Brandeis.
Probably one of the family, right?
I'm sure he was. His mother was.
Yeah, you see here, it's residence of Brandeis, I think it says. Isidore Brandeis,
Yeah.
who was the granary,
Yeah.
right? And then this house was on, Memorial Drive was.
Yep.
A lot of these are Sturgeon Bay, but then there's a few up north also. And he did a lot of the schoolhouses. There's Institute.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
then,
wonderful.
yeah.
And that's
Have a look.
wait, go back up a little bit.
To the
That's
Quonset.
in Bailey's Harbor,
Which one is that? This one?
the rounded,
The Quonset hut.
lower left.
I think this one is actually Forestville Community Building.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right there. Forest Villa.
Forestville Community Building.
Was
When
it
there were
called?
notes, I actually, when there were notes on the pictures, I added some of that. So, and here's Garrett Bay Inn.
Oh, my word.
And the schoolhouses, he did all these schoolhouses all over the place. Isn't that amazing? So those are just little snapshots from that exhibit, but as I say, the actual architectural drawings are in the archives now
Do you know what some of the earliest dates are?
for these buildings. I'm
You know,
not really sure.
These dates of the buildings are like that one in the left, on the upper left there.
That's a photograph I took of the building.
That's the
You
Fairfield.
see color, if you see, it's called the Penny Building. If you see color, you know, I took a modern version of it, but
Yep.
these were buildings that are in the
Somebody right there, somebody commented on the Carnegie, I mentioned Carnegie Library.
library. Yeah.
Tom didn't know, or Tom or who didn't know
I
that?
did.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mentioned
that's,
that.
so,
Somebody said that was the Carnegie. I didn't know we had
I
it.
said that one, I said that's the free one, that's the account. Fourth and Michigan.
Vicky's
Is that
there
still
now.
there?
Yes,
It's an office building now.
Vicky,
Really?
the tax accountant, Vicky,
Stengel.
Stengel, that's her
Yeah.
building now.
So now do you know how to find this so you can look at these
Yeah.
later? Go to doorcountylibrary.org and my overfilled genealogy history page
Wow.
under photographs right here.
Those
Yeah.
are wonderful.
Yeah, I thought it was a really neat scrapbook in the history room, so that's why I scanned it and
What I really liked is, I'm not native, but I've lived here since 1980. I can't believe how many of those things I recognize and I know about.
and by the way, there is a Crandall family history in the family histories in the Lori history room if you're interested in that family.
Huh.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about him, but anyway, the buildings are kind of neat. I think there are two big architects in Door County, Crandall and then Bernhardt. Those are the two big guys.
How do you spell the Barnhart?
Bernhardt,
B-E or B-A?
I think it's BE.
Yeah, Bernhardt, there was an H.O. Bernhardt that had an abstract company in the old bank building that had the tower that they took off. Then his son was Gene Bernhardt and he was across the street. They did abstracting and whatever, and he was in the bank. But that must be H.O.'s or H.O.'s dad.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that a lot of the buildings you'd recognize around the county are done by him. I think the Valmy gas station is the one I know of. You know, not the Kirsch's building, but what's the name of the one that's over
Across the street, yeah.
the old curve, the old building? But there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of them. I think both Bernhardt and Crandall worked on the town hall in Ypres. Oops. So, well, now you have some things you can follow up on.
This is
Very
most
productive
interesting.
meeting.
And I love it when people say, have you finished with your genealogy yet?
Yeah.
It is never ending, folks.
Well, if you want to make a book, there is that book, digital book that will give you guidelines on how to print one out.
That will be a long time down the road, Laura, for me.
I'm always fascinated by the books here because there are little tiny scrapbooks and then there are very expensive bound,
Yeah,
6-inch thick books.
yeah.
Some people have done. So it's all interesting how people try to present their families. Well, anyone else have anything to say? We're coming up on an hour here.
No, I thought this was very good meeting. Very very
Okay,
interesting.
great. I'll see you in 2 weeks then. And I think I'll send out an email, but if you know anyone who wants to come, it's on the calendar.
Right.
All right.
Happy
Okay, thank you very
Easter.
much.
Thank
Happy
you.
Easter.
April Fool Day.
Bye,
Happy
everybody.
April
Have a
Fool.
good Easter, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.